everyone. My name's Paul. I'm a solution engineer. I'm based here in the UK. And my much smarter colleague, Jimmy, he's based out of Boston. He's a product manager. And as Noga said, we're going to spend the next 25 minutes or so talking to you about how Earnix, we're using GenAI to simplify customer migration and onboarding. Now, we're really cognizant of the fact that this is the graveyard shift, right? You've just had your lunch, feeling a bit tired. It's day 2. We all had a good night last night. I think the guy from Unica this morning mentioned the Windows 95 launch when all the execs got up on stage and had a dance. So we thought we'd start this session by reenacting that in the room. If we could... No, I'm only joking. Only joking. So I thought we'd start with a really simple analogy. So maybe if you could just raise your hands. How many people in the room have undergone some kind of home renovation project? You've built an extension, converted a room to an office to work from home since COVID. So quite a lot of you, right? So if you have, don't laugh, you already understand a little bit about legacy migration, about moving books of business or underwriting rules to a new platform. What we tend to find with legacy transformations, it's a bit like undergoing a home renovation project whilst you're still living in the property. So there's, I guess, 3 common pain points that I'd just like to highlight. So number 1, manual effort equals slow progress. You can't operate the power tools while the baby's having a nap. Every single step in the process, you have to navigate around existing business operations. And progress can feel painfully slow because you're effectively doing surgery on a beating heart. Number 2, there's a high propensity for error. One wrong swing hits a load-bearing wall. One incorrect data mapping corrupts your customer records. Stakes are massively high because we rely on these systems every day. And then number 3, a learning curve. How do I operate the new heating system? We all have to learn new workflows really quickly while meeting existing targets. And actually, even with the most intuitive of tech, there's a bedding in period when we feel a little bit uncomfortable. And the worst part, I think we'd all recognize, is running 2 systems simultaneously. It's a little bit like brushing your teeth in the morning while the workmen are knocking down the bathroom wall behind you. But the key here is, once you've done it, once you've got there, you can never imagine going back. So why am I using this home renovation analogy? Why is it important? So at Earnix, we have our own North Star. I'll just read it to you quickly. Earnix is the innovation platform for financial services, powering companies to compete, differentiate, and grow in highly competitive markets. But all of that, all of the good stuff, all of this cool tech, doesn't mean anything unless we can help you get there. So the home renovation analogy is how we think about some of your migration challenges. And maybe if I can hand over to Jimmy, you can maybe bring this to light with a good example to demonstrate the challenge.
Thanks, Paul. And yes, I love the home renovation analogy because I think it just perfectly encapsulates the challenges that many carriers face as they're moving from legacy systems onto something more modern. So let's take a look at one of these migrations and how it might actually look in reality. And I think the goal in me showing you this is to try to bring some light to actually how complicated this journey can be. So let's say we're moving one underwriting rule over from a legacy system onto a new modern system. That takes around 5 minutes, right? You're coding something in, you're making sure the acceptance, rejection criteria is in place, not too complicated. But let's say we have 100 of these. Very common in a standard products that you're offering in MTPL and personal auto and personal property. You could have 100 rules for a given territory. That brings the total amount of manual effort up to 8 hours. And if we expand that across 10 regions, 10 territories, 10 states, that's often very conservative. That means we're multiplying this number yet again by 10. And the total number of manual effort hours becomes 83. And finally, if we're moving this across all of our product lines, commercial auto, commercial home, commercial property, general liability, travel insurance. This means that it could be around 10,000 individual manual migrations across all of your products. That's 104 working days where all that's happening is just manual migration of converting your data from your legacy system onto a new system. And that's before you're even getting value out of the platform. That's just purely migration effort. And I think this example really brings to life the scale of this challenge, the weight of this journey. At the pace just referenced, this means like five months of actual work. And of course, you have to do QA afterwards. You have to make sure that there's no errors in your conversion. All of that work still needs to happen. And in addition, your team is not doing anything that's value-oriented. You're still not getting value out of the platform. So we're introducing a solution for accelerating these implementations called the Implementation Accelerator. And what it is a tool to transform business logic into Earnix-ready Python code so that you can move from your legacy systems onto Earnix price it, Earnix underwrite it much, much faster. But how does it really work, right? Well, LLMs are amazing at processing unstructured information. And as many of you know, a lot of your business logic, a lot of your pricing strategies are embedded in these unstructured documents, right? These Word documents, these PDFs, these Excel spreadsheets, which contain our underwriting rules, our rating algorithms. So the tool works by uploading those documents to the Implementation Accelerator. You'll see it in a moment. And then LLM will scan and parse the document, extract the insight and relevant business logic that you want to recode into Earnix, and generate that code for you. And the LLM will then allow you to run that in the automation module. So now I'm going to ask Paul to actually bring this to life and show us how it actually works.
Thank you, Jimmy. So what we have here is an example of some underwriting rules for a commercial auto, a commercial motor product. We've received them from the insurer, and we want to get them into Earnix without needing any manual effort. So if we run the demo, we can see here it's a PDF, we've got some tables, we've got if statements referring to conditions, very common format. We've got underwriting outcomes such as accept, refer, and decline. What we're going to do now is show you the Implementation Accelerator for the first time. So when we go into that, we will first of all choose an underwriting project. We will then reference that PDF file that we've just looked at. And then once we've done that, we're going to click on Generate Code. Now this is going to take about 15 seconds or so. You'll see it spinning round. But what it's going to do, it's going to create a complete Python script that then I can use to automate the creation of a full underwriting rule set. So what you'll see in a second on the right-hand side is that complete Python script. I will be able to look at it, review it, and importantly, at the top right-hand side of the screen, I'll be able to click on Copy. Once I've done that, I can go directly into the automation module in Earnix, the Python console, and simply paste in that script, update the underwriting project name, and run the selection. You'll see the progress at the foot of the screen. It takes a second or two. What's the result of what we've just done? If we open up our underwriting project in Earnix, we have a complete set of knockout parameters, decision trees, underwriting rules, branches, and outcomes. Now, this is obviously a simple example for the purposes of demo, but Jimmy referenced weeks or months. This has been completed in a matter of minutes. So what's the value that we're generating as a result of using the Implementation Accelerator? So 3 key points here. Accelerated migration, reducing manual migration timelines by 90%. Elevated migration accuracy, so massively reducing expected manual conversion errors. And really, really importantly, resources that were stuck on manual migrations can now be allocated on value-add tasks. I think Tim Harford yesterday talked about the the advent of spreadsheets as an example that made accountants more valuable and more creative, this is exactly the same. So maybe if I hand back again to Jimmy and you can talk about the second example.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. And by the way, I don't know if any of you have watched a recorded demo of yourselves moving a mouse around, but it makes you very insecure. So I'm going to move to the second challenge, which is about, okay, we've moved the data out of the legacy system into the new, more modern system, but yet our teams are still not trained. They're still not necessarily getting value out of the platform because they don't know how to use it yet. And I want to back up a bit and talk about one of the core tenets of Earnix and the Earnix product team that we have, which is that we are a product team that focuses on delivering self-reliance to our customers. We're not trying to sell you services. We want to build the best solutions possible that will make you self-sufficient. And this is really, I think our staffing model is emblematic of that, right? We have 50% of our entire staff allocated towards product and engineering, while only 21% is focused on services, customer implementations, things of that nature. So when you think about sort of what we're achieving, what we're striving for, we want to build the best solutions possible to make you self-sufficient. And one of these such solutions is the Earnix CoPilot, which was introduced last year at Accelerate, and now it's fully available, generally available for our customers to purchase. And you may have heard about it, you may have seen the press releases around it, but it's a GenAI-powered agent that can help Earnix users boost their productivity and business performance. But what does that actually mean in reality? What is it actually doing in truth? Well, 3 things. It can explain how to accomplish tasks in Earnix software. It can advise users on best practices, and it can generate Python code to automate your tasks, which I think is one of the really powerful things about generative AI is code generation. And I think embedding it into the workflows of our customers using Earnix is one of the most important innovations here. How do we build this? Well, I want to just briefly go over some of the architectural components that we baked in here. And we're using AWS Bedrock, which is the platform underlying the platform that was talked about this morning. And I think it's important that we talk about a few key tenets of the Earnix CoPilot. Number 1, this is a fully managed service, which means we can have access to scale and ensure that we have the right models available to us. Secondly, we have baked in guardrails. Guardrails were talked a lot about today and yesterday, making sure we're building the right AI solutions for regulated industries. That's obviously top of mind for us as we're building all of these solutions, and CoPilot is no different from that. And then we're using the Claude Sonnet family of models. This could change in the future, but for now, the evals are proving to be most effective here, which is a top-notch reasoning model for that step-by-step type analysis that is very common when using the Earnix CoPilot. So a couple benefits to this. Number 1, financial services ready. Number 2, 0 customer data training. We're never, ever letting the data leave the AWS region or using it for making the models better. And of course, content governance, the guardrails we spoke about. And of course, we have the right infrastructure and architecture for evolving these capabilities in the future, because as new capabilities come out, new tools and agents become available, it's all baked into the platform. So at this point, I'm going to hand it back to Paul, who's going to show this tool in action.
Thank you, Jimmy. I love the fact that I get to demo this tool. I think it's really cool. So this is the CoPilot. We've got 2 agents here. We'll have a look at the coding assistant in a second. But we'll start with the knowledge base. And I'm going to adopt a persona of a trainee. I've just come out of college, and I've just joined an insurance pricing team. So if we run the demo, what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to access the knowledge base, and I'm going to ask a simple language theory question, really. How are demand models used in insurance? And when the agent runs, I'd like to stress we're not training this on any customer data at all. It's only Earnix sources. But we're going to get a response back pretty quickly. We also, importantly, have hyperlinks to the sources that we used to generate the response. So in this example, it's an insurance knowledge base article. So if we move from maybe theory to action, I understand how demand models are used in insurance, but how do I go about creating a demand model in Earnix? Again, the CoPilot's running, Earnix release notes, best practice guides, user guides, and so on. And the result is a step-by-step guide as to how to create a demand model in Earnix. And I can even rate the response, which will help us improve the model over time. So I understand how demand models are used in insurance. I understand how to create one in Earnix. But how can the coding assistant help me actually create a model? So I'm pasting in a simple language request that I pre-prepared. But what I'm doing here is asking the CoPilot to create a script that can then be used to automatically create a demand model. So again, we've got the Python script. Again, we can copy and paste it into our Python console. In this example, I'm updating the script to reference the pricing project, but I'm doing that with navigator selection, so I don't need to understand Python. And again, what you'll see is the script running, the progress at the foot of the screen. It takes 2 or 3 seconds in this example. But the key here is when we open up Earnix, in this case it's a pricing project, we'll be able to see automatically we've created a simple demand model with a couple of features. I think we've got the average driver age and the average premium. And if we go into version settings, we can see information like the dependent column and the data source that I included in my language request. Now, I don't know Python. Anyone that's seen me attempt to code will know I'm not a developer. But all of a sudden, even I can now automate repetitive and manual tasks in Earnix. I love it. So again, what value are we generating as a result of this tool? We're helping new users get trained on the software much quicker. We're enhancing customer support by shortening response times to questions and being able to access relevant Earnix documentation much quicker. And we're lowering the barrier to entry for use of the automation console. Now you may be asking, well, why are you using the Tesco Insurance logo on the screen? If we go to the next slide, we have a nice reference here, a nice quote from Gordon Rigg, who's a senior pricing manager at Tesco.
Stand up, Gordon.
He's in the room. But Gordon specifically here references new users being trained using the CoPilot, freeing up senior people to concentrate on other tasks that help grow the business. One final thing I'd like to stress here. This isn't another AI prototype or POC that never gets productionized. We're hearing a lot of that at the moment. This is real. Our customers are already seeing reduced cost, reduced time, increased efficiency and accuracy. It's all real. So just to finish off, I'm going to hand back to Jimmy, who's going to talk about combined value.
Thanks, Paul. And yeah, just to bring it all together, right, we showed you 2 solutions, one that can help with the actual data migration and one that can help users get trained much faster. And it's something we think is a really powerful joint solution. And I think I want to just set our sights high and explain to you what we're striving for, what our aspiration is. Well, we want to make the migration and implementation process for our carriers go from months to weeks. We want to make you be able to take advantage of the solutions as quickly as possible. And what this means is getting your users trained up 50% faster and making sure that your data gets migrated in 2 to 4 weeks. It's an ambitious goal, but we think with these tools we can really achieve it. And many of you may be asking the question, hey, we already use Earnix. We already are implemented. Well, many of you are also in the process of implementation or prospects or not using underwriting. And I just want to maybe say, if implementation or migration is at all a barrier to you and considering one of our other capabilities, I want to encourage you to come talk to us and see how we can help you with these 2 solutions. So if you're ready to accelerate your migration, come talk to us. Thanks.